conference will now be recorded.
Good evening. Welcome to this regular meeting of the Vader City Council. It is 6:06 p.m. on February 19th, 2025. Roll call.
Mayor Scheid.
Here.
Sheila Goff.
Here.
Jason Daly.
Jason is absent and, as far as I know, unexcused.
Randy Hall.
Yeah.
Mike Parsons.
Hello.
And Michael Ferguson.
Also absent and, as far as I know, unexcused. All right, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Mayor's report. I apologize, not all the items are on the agenda. Our city clerk took off for vacation at the beginning of the week, so she got a generic agenda out ahead of time. So I got a few extra things. So obviously contact Ken Joslin. Ken is here tonight. If you'd like to still be part of the 4th of July planning committee. They've had one meeting, and the next, you got another one scheduled yet?
March 29th.
March 29th, and Ken's gonna come up and talk in a little bit during special reports. The next May Day planning meeting is Monday, March 3rd at 5:30. It'll be at the tracks. Again, good opportunity to volunteer and help out if you can. The grant-funded Transportation Improvement Board street work for the summer, the solicitation for engineers, we had that set to expire out yesterday, and we had 2 different engineering companies put in their interest to be our lead engineer on that. And so city staff will be taking a look at that and figuring out which one is the most qualified, and then eventually come to you with a contract for approval for that. Again, that's all grant funded. The attorney was directed to start drafting the marijuana business ordinance, and so that's still in the works. We did get some unfortunate news. So the outfall diffuser project for the wastewater plant and also the lift station removal project that we're currently working with Ecology on. They said that they're not going to be able to fund the construction portion of the project in the near future. So this particular cycle. They are going to be able to continue funding the design and engineering that's almost done. And so I'm trying to work with our state senator, Jeff Wilson, to try to get maybe on a capital budget to try to keep that project moving along. I'd hate to see us spend a couple $100,000 on paperwork and then stick on a shelf for a bunch of years and not actually get the project done. So, so more to come on that. Of course, park board vacancy. Anita Keeney did resign a few weeks back. She's just got a lot of things on her plate. She's involved pretty much with every other committee in the city. So she resigned, and of course, unfortunately, the news did come out over the weekend that our other park board member, Daryl Crago, did pass away. And so there is another vacancy there. Fortunately, losing Daryl is a big blow to everybody. He was a great guy, also elected official on the fire station for the commission there. His wife Mo is still on the park board, so our condolences to her. And I know his service is coming up, I think March 1st. There's information online about that if you're interested. Daryl grew up here in town, went to school at the Vader schools. I think his story was kind of cut short. So I know Vader feels a little smaller without him. So. That's it for the council reports, or excuse me, the mayor report. Do any members of the council have any reports tonight? No? Okay. Agenda approval.
I did get, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mike.
I did get quite a few phone calls this last week. Very upset that we're looking at this marijuana thing. So just to let y'all know, I even had people on my door saying, what the heck is going on? We've already dealt with this. So
Okay. I have a feeling we're going to have a good amount of public comment here in a few minutes, Mike. There's several people here. I also printed out 3 different emails the city got with opposition to the idea as well. It's with in your council packet, so we'll make sure you get those. All right, moving on to agenda approval then. I don't have anything for city business tonight. It was kind of unusual. We've got a lot of things in the works, obviously from the mayor report, but nothing right now to talk about there. So we get a motion to approve the agenda unless there's other topics to add.
What's the date on it? I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. What do I say?
To approve the agenda as written.
To approve the agenda as written for February 12th,
19th.
19th.
Yep. We have a motion by Ms. Goff to approve the agenda as written. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Hall. Discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
Any opposed? Motion carries. Both Mike and Randy said aye at the same time. Saw their little boxes pop up green. Minutes approval.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for February 12th as written.
You don't have the
I
current
don't have that,
agenda?
no.
You don't have the agenda?
I don't.
Probably buried in your packet.
Yeah, I can find it. I don't even know where I'm at. Do we need a second now? Did I say it?
Go ahead and say it again, please.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the minutes for February 5th for the city council meeting.
We have a motion by Ms. Goff to approve the meeting minutes for February 5th. Do we have a second?
second.
Second by Mr. Parsons. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
I
Any opposed? Motion carries. Voucher approval.
I make a motion to approve the voucher for January 25th, $10,000, $702.70. And do I read the other one too? And the end of February, $42,115.45.
We have a motion by Ms. Goff to approve the vouchers as stated. Do we have a second?
second.
Second by Mr. Hall.
Both of them.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the vouchers, say aye.
Aye.
I
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to special reports. Ken Joslin, 4th of July. Thanks. What you got going on, Ken?
So I'm Ken Joslin. I'm the chair on the park board and working on this 4th of July committee. I talked with Caitlin and she was going to have a vendor application for me. And she said she was going to email it and I never got it. And I thought she was going to be here tonight. So I thought, no big deal. I'll just get it from her tonight. And we can't find it, so I'll have to try to get that to you guys down the road. We talked at our meeting that we had a couple weeks ago down at the tracks that we wanted to have a vendor fee. And so we talked about having, so we're gonna have food vendors and we're gonna have just other vendors. And so I think we discussed about $40 to $75 for the vendors fees and stuff. And that way they have a little foot in the game and stuff like that, and they're not gonna back out. And then our goal is that, I guess we have a line on a band that we're gonna have it down there by the post office. And we're also hoping to have a beer garden. So we'll wanna have some, we're gonna have security for that, and the Trax is gonna sponsor that. And then we'll have the food vendors up at the school and then along with the fireworks. So we're really trying to get things going. Kristen sent me the budget for, well, what we have for last year. So the city budget for the 4th of July is $4,500. Our mayor got us another grant for an additional $5,000. And so we're trying to figure out how we're gonna go about paying for all that stuff, because I guess last year we went into a little bit more paying for fireworks and everything, and the porta potties and stuff like that. So we need to figure out how much extra we're gonna have, or if any.
Yeah, it was actually the thing that pushed us over last year was the insurance.
Oh, okay.
The insurance was
A little bit
more than the past,
Okay.
which, welcome to the
Yeah,
world we're in right now.
I just
All the
got an
insurance
increase
goes
on
up.
my
Yeah.
insurance. I'm trying to figure out how to pay for all that. So, yeah. So anyway, hopefully soon we'll be getting, and then like the mayor said, we're gonna be meeting down at the Trax again on March 29th. I think that's a Saturday. So if anybody would like to come and join or be part of that, please bring your thinking caps. And I think we would really have an opportunity here in Vader to get a big draw. I just know it's with these next 2 or 3 years with the holiday falling through the weekend, I think it's going to be really good. And I think we can really make some revenue and make Vader on the map. I wish I had that application I could show you guys, but that's all I really got.
Yep.
So I'll talk. Is Caitlin going to be here tomorrow? She will? Okay. So I'll call her tomorrow and have her email that. And so any questions from council or public?
So how is the crowd there? Like, is there room for people? I mean, I know it's getting bigger and bigger. Last year was like 45 minutes, an hour, fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
So like the crowds, do they have space to,
For what?
for like people to sit and? Is it
Well,
crowded?
the fireworks are going to be at the school.
Right,
So nothing's changing with that.
okay.
And you're just gonna have to, I mean, if you sit in your car or whatever, it's gonna have to get here soon and get a parking spot.
And the reason why I say that, because we're right next to the fireworks, so we get.
Well, yeah, I'm
So-
right across the street from the fireworks too, so I get people showing up last minute and want to park in my driveway.
Right, right.
I have to go out and escort them off my property.
Place to sit and watch.
Yeah,
and stuff
so-
like that. Okay.
So, yeah, nothing's changing with that. The vendors will start showing up around 11 o'clock and be set up by noon. And then they'll all go until probably 6 or so, and then start breaking down. And I'm not sure about the band yet, how long they're gonna go for.
All right.
Anything else?
It's great.
Okay,
Thank you for putting all that time into it.
yeah, like the mayor said, we do have 2 vacancies on the park board, so if anybody wants to donate some more time, talk to the mayor.
Or Ken,
Or
Ken's
me, yeah.
park board chair too.
Yeah.
You gotta work with that guy.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Jen.
you.
All right, moving on to public comment. I imagine that's why a lot of folks are here. So if you'd like to come up to the podium and state your name and let us know your thoughts. And for the council members that aren't here, we'll be sure to make sure they get a copy of your audio so that they can hear.
That's fine. My name's Kevin Fleck. I live at 1198 8th Street, top of the hill. And I'm here about the marijuana article in the paper last week. Needless to say, I was a little upset when I read it. We went through that fight. I forget how many years ago it was, and a lot of things happened at that time. And we won. We kept it out of here. And before the final vote, I had a visit from the owner at my home. And so I invited him in. We started talking. And we'll leave it that he offered me a very large bribe to change my vote. And I have a witness to that. And I told him he came to the wrong house. So I helped him out the door. We came down and voted right after that, and we won. So when I read that article, I did some checking. And there's now a processing plant. Longview, there's one in Chehalis. And the one in Longview, you can drive down the expressway. I don't go down there that often, past the south part of Longview. But you can smell that smell on the freeway. It's very strong and very pungent. I've heard that there's been some complaints on the one in Chehalis, but I don't have any facts to back that up. Checked with Fusion Sound. I guess that's the people that is a group up there that does the overseeing for the ecology, for smell that's being reduced and all the new things that are done. They've had a number of complaints and they followed through on one complaint. And they charged them a $750 fine, which is a drop in the bucket. That's not going to delay them from doing anything. And one of the arguments we had when we were going after that was the cost for police. This city does not have a police force, so we have to depend on outside service. And you can do all your reports you want and all the studies you want, but it's proven that when they have a processing plant like that and you have a sale facility, there's more crime in the city. I'll just say that 2 summers ago, my wife was talking to a lady just down the street from us about a horse and a saddle, and, ladies and their horses. And one of the neighbors came out with a gun and started shooting at them. And they called the police, and they waited 45 minutes for a call for a police officer. So that's an act of gun shooting. What's going to happen with the problems we have with marijuana? We cannot expect to have anything. And we went through it at that time about a police force, and the police force was way too expensive for the city to absorb. And now it's considerably more. So I started contacting people around town. I got the same information. And I was told there's a lot of people for it. Sorry to say, Joe, I was told you were for it. I'm just telling you the information I got. And that the thing for this thing was the city would get a $1,500 to $2,000. Well, for that kind of money, you're going to destroy the soul of the city. This city would lose homes. The smell would drive people out. The wind blows, and I am assuming, and I think I'm correct, since they kicked the junkyard out, that building is empty and ready to go. They've got it all scraped, garden, the building empty.
It's for sale.
Yeah, well, it's for sale, but there were a lot of fairy tales about the building when it was going up too. So that's the point they'd want to develop for their processing plant. They could sell it to somebody they know and just still operate it. And that's how they did it with the junkyard. He was still behind all that. And so today I called the developer for the plot up here and let him know what was going on. He called me back and said he talked with you already. Jerry Baker.
Yeah, actually, Jerry Baker with, he did send us a lengthy email, and it's in the packet the council got.
I didn't see that. But anyhow, the reason I did that is because I used to be in development. And there's a lot of money at risk when you develop. But for the city, there's a lot more income from a development than it would be for $2,000. And I thought I could get him to come to the meeting, is why I called him. But he said he would do his best because he has a lot of plans for the city of Vader, and he said, I can't invest in it if there's a marijuana plant. So I want you to know that up front. I'm the one who called him because I was in that business and I know what that would do to a development that's within stone distance of a plant. People will not buy it. So that's how I feel about it. And I'm sure there's other people who feel the same way because I've talked to them. So that's what I had to say. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Kim Strunk. I'm married to Blanca. We live at 703 D Street. And my background is I retired on February the 8th, 2022. I worked with Wells Fargo Bank, Corporate Properties Group, and part of what I did was site selection for the bank branches. And I'm not sure if this proposal is a facility in a retail.
No,
It's just,
no, currently Vader does not allow any marijuana businesses, and the city council is considering changing our ordinance to allow businesses. There are no active inquiries from businesses that want to be established here at all. It's just council was
oh, I see, okay.
thinking about lifting that ban so that we could get the $2,000 a year in shared revenue from the state that we don't get because of the ban.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so one of the things, I was on a site selection committee, and what we tried to determine were for banks, and this would go for almost all national and retail businesses, is your tenant mix. Tenant mix is extremely critical. And one of the things that we could not really survive with would be a marijuana business. Like if it was in a shopping center or whatever, our customers did not like to go, and they have many choices, different banks to go to. And it turns out, historically speaking, that when you have a marijuana business in like a little center, what ends up happening is most of your major tenants get out of there. And then you end up with having to compromise. And so the kind of compromise is tattoo parlors, massage parlors, bars, especially biker bars, and this kind of a thing, and real discount centers. And that doesn't help the city at all. And I'm sure you don't want to go that direction. And so it's kind of a slippery slope when you start this way and you give somebody an opportunity to come in with a marijuana business. I think it's very problematic because I think you have so many other ways to go if you want to generate tax revenue, which I know you do. But I don't think that's the way you want to do it. Any questions?
Thank you. Interesting perspective. This is from the business side. Next.
Hi, my name is Leanna Horton. I live in the urban growth area, heading out towards Ryderwood, just outside the city limits. And I'm not as eloquent as you gentlemen that were able to speak without written word. I had to prepare my speech. So I'll try to read this quickly. It's not too long.
Hey, I'm with you. I always write it down too.
Well, otherwise I get off subject or lose train of thought. So it has been brought to my attention. The city board is looking to further amend the marijuana ordinances for Vader. Although I did not oppose the recent amendments, ordinance 2024-11, I am opposed to any amendments that involves allowing a marijuana processor, producer, or production to be permitted in Vader. If a citizen of Vader that meets the requirements under RCW 69.51A.210 want to grow their 4 plants, I don't begrudge them. If a cooperative of 4 residents under RCW 69.51A.250 wants to grow their maximum 60 plants, I think that's a bit excessive, but the ordinance is already in the books, in case you didn't know that. They've already amended a portion of the marijuana. So now people within the city can grow their own if they meet their requirements. I believe in live and let live, but not when it affects the other people's quality of life. I am not thrilled about the marijuana activities that were approved or allowed by this council, although marijuana is legal in Washington, and the ordinance amendments do not at this time appear to impact the everyday lives of other citizens of Vader who don't want to participate. I am fearful what may come. I am also disappointed the city council is continuing to push the envelope where marijuana is concerned. And then I'm just going to quickly read this section of the Vader marijuana ordinance. It's part 3 under section 27.64.030, additional findings mentioned. And it states the negative impacts and secondary effects associated with all marijuana uses, whether medical or recreational, including but not limited to the extraordinary and unsustainable demands that have been or will be placed upon scarce city policing, legal, policy, and administrative resources, neighborhood disruption, increased transient visitors and intimidation, the exposure of school-age children and other sensitive residents to marijuana, illegal sales to both minor and adults, fraud in issuing, obtaining or using marijuana prescriptions, and murders, robberies, burglaries, assaults, drug trafficking, and other violent crimes. So that's part of the ordinance. So in my opinion, I think the council's kind of putting the cart before the horse. Why are we looking into adding possibly more negative scenarios for the residents, when to my knowledge, the city still is not equipped to deal with the extraordinary and sustainable demands that have been or will be placed upon scarce city resources? We have already seen an increase in crime in the area. Soon after the Dollar General opened, the store allowed a transient to park his vehicle in their parking lot while he robbed the local neighborhood and even broke into my neighbor's home carrying a firearm. My brother-in-law's motorcycle was stolen. Some other people's stuff was stolen. Luckily, my house was not touched because we have a dog. I think the dog saved us. Most people in the Vader area are also aware of a recent drug bust on the Winlock-Vader Highway. There's also an area north of Coma Road, Winlock-Vader Highway. I know this is an urban growth area and beyond, but I worry as people who reside in these areas or squatters, they're allegedly stealing from neighbors, and we don't need more of that. Has the Vader City Council not considered, as stated in the ordinance, the negative impacts allowing this in our community may cause? The council should be keeping in mind the impact to the whole community. We have also seen the negative impacts of liberal policies across the nation in recent years. Homelessness, drug use, overall indecency and violence is just on the rise. And although I don't want to start a political debate, nor do I want to divide our community, I do not want to see our community sink any further. With more people moving into the area, more houses planning on being built, it is my opinion allowing any further ordinance, allowing additional marijuana activities is a huge mistake. Our city does not have the resources to properly deal with the negative impacts additional marijuana activities may bring. I'm almost done. Page and a half.
You're good. You're good.
As a city council member mentioned during the last meeting, which I believe was Jason, there really isn't a local suitable area for marijuana store or producer in the city limits. Is the Atlas location, is that city limits or is that urban growth?
It is city limits.
Okay, because I'm assuming that's probably where they want to go again, because that's where they wanted to previously. But my thought process at the time of writing this was that, if there's no suitable location within city limits, that leaves my backyard, the urban growth area. And I'm completely opposed to this. We already went over this as previously stated. I would love to be able to attend all the city council meetings, But I do have school activities. I'm actually missing a class tonight because I wanted to be here. But I do not want to allow this or have this happen. We just want in the urban growth area, and previously, and I think you guys are working on this too, kind of off subject, I apologize. I know that you guys are looking into incorporating the urban growth area. I had been here previous for a meeting and I went around to all the residents in my local area of the urban growth area west of the tracks. And all save one that I spoke with also don't want to be incorporated into the city. We do not want to be a part of the city, save one. We just want to remain a quiet rural area. We want to be left to enjoy our lives. We don't want to be pushed and disregarded or pushed under and disregarded by the council. Last but not least, in addition to the nefarious problems that arise from additional marijuana activities, I really have to ask if we allow this, even the possibility, because you stated that as of right now, there's no current business interested, but that doesn't open, that opens the door. There might not be somebody interested right now, but that opens the door for interest. I mean, why would they be interested if it's illegal? So, do we really want our town to smell like a dead skunk? Really? Because I know exactly where you were speaking of. My parents live in Rainier, Oregon. I go down Industrial Way. I drive by that every time I go to visit them. It stinks. When I was younger, I lived in Longview. I grew up in Longview. I called it Longpew because it smelled so bad, because of the mills. The additional skunks, dead skunk smell on top of it is not appealing. And I do not want that in my backyard. If we allow this to happen, I think it's going to be a coffin in a nail in the coffin, so to speak, because no regulations that have been enacted help to control the stench that these growers and producers cause. And I don't want to spend the rest of my life in Vader, captive in my own home, because going outside overwhelms my senses. I love to garden. I don't want to have to give that up. And what a few people on the city council choose to do should not negatively impact the entire community's quality of life. Granted, some people like the smell of marijuana because they smoke it themselves. I think there's a few people I know well, at least one I know of on the council that enjoys to dabble in it. So in addition to that, as far as people enjoying the smell of marijuana smoke, we all know that smoking sections in restaurants never worked. If they did, the state would not have passed laws prohibiting smoking in public places. So I really want you to rethink and reconsider if $1,500 a year is really worth our town smelling like a dead skunk. Thank you.
So regarding the update to the city codes with the marijuana from the end of last year, Ms. Goff was doing some research and discovered that the city was not in line with the state code, state RCW. We were in violation of the state RCW. We were stricter than we were allowed to be with regard to, was the co-ops?
The what?
The co-ops, is that what it was?
No, just that they said.
Or the medical
you
side.
couldn't-
It was either the co-ops or the medical side. And so that update to our code was just making us in line with them so that we weren't in violation of state code. It was not to further loosen our codes beyond what we were required to do.
And as I stated, I don't.
But as soon as that one was approved, we sure did move on fast to the next one.
Amen.
Yeah, and again, I don't have any problem with people doing what they want to do in their own backyard. If they want to grow 4 marijuana plants in their house because they have a medical condition. I worked in the medical field. I was previously a medical assistant. I understand the benefits it can help people with pain, etc. But this is a totally different story. And if we open this door, I think it's going to be a huge, huge mistake for the city. And I don't come up to these meetings unless I've feel it's necessary, because for the most part, I trust you guys. That you're doing your job well, and doing your job without personal conflicts of interest.
The last observation, I'm glad you brought up the urban growth area. It was brought up during some of the discussions earlier. So the way the state codes are, you can't have a marijuana business within 1,000 feet of parks and schools, and some cities go on to add churches and public buildings and things like that. And so if you start drawing 1,000-foot circles around all of our parks and schools and churches, there is no commercial zoning left within the city limits for a business to locate. However, if the city were to expand its city limits, then the urban growth area, i.e. right down past your place towards Dollar General, would be the place where a business could locate. And so that was discussed, and it did not go, it wasn't missed. So just wanted to let you know that. Next.
Hello, my name's Angie Holden, and I just kind of heard a little bit about this through the grapevine. And so what is the purpose of these meetings? Because if Mike says a bunch of people came to his house complaining, thinking that this was dead, already voted for, what's the purpose of bringing it up again as far as that?
I believe it's 2015, is that right, Kevin? Right about there, 2015, I think, is when the council, it was right when the state was first looking at allowing it, and the city decided to, ban the businesses. It's been a decade. We've got different council members now, and so there was a different perspective, and so they were looking at maybe rescinding that and allowing businesses after all. The idea being, we're missing out on the shared state revenue, a couple $1,000s a year. And the other idea, the other thought was, well, there wouldn't actually be any businesses here because there's no zone that would be suitable for them. And so we're missing out on the revenue.
Which seems to be kind of.
Even though we would never have a business.
It seems
That's
a little
the idea.
petty.
That's the idea.
Yeah, that seems a little petty, that $2,000, $1,500, $2,000. I mean, we could probably gather it and give it to you if that's what it's about. I mean, not only the smell, the crime, we have a young generation starting to live here, and to have that smell, I mean, they're going to be, curious of what that is, and who knows, become, an addict because of that. You never know. And, why not turn that into a facility for the kids, for after school programs and things like that? Why not something that way the state can, give you monies for that? I think that's a better idea than the marijuana that is worldwide. Everybody wants to get their foot in the door to sell marijuana and, make their money. But to our benefit, not benefit, but to our, detriment to us, the people that live here. We're only like a little tiny town of 700-800. I mean, my goodness, why are you bringing the big city devil and enemy into a little tiny city of Vader? You blink, you miss Vader, but not anymore. Everybody's gonna smell Vader. And that freeway, we drive by there, I have teenagers like, what is that smell? Oh my gosh, and Angie's that, oh my gosh. And it's terrible because now all the kids and everybody's going to start smelling that, and you never know. That's how the enemy works. And so I think that we should turn that into something for the kids and for the future generations to come. That's what Vader should be known for. 4th of July, happiness, and not stinky Vader. Vader already has a bad rap, unfortunately. I mean, when I moved here from San Diego, everybody started talking about this and that, which they already, have a stigma of Vader. Now it's going to be even worse. And, so I think $2,000, $1,500, $2,000, come on. That's ridiculous to have that as a reason you're missing out on $2,000. I mean, I'll get a job and pay it if you guys need that. Seriously, if that's the problem.
Take donations.
Right.
Seriously, I'll spend my $7
Exactly.
and taking donations if you want $1,500.
Yeah, because I mean, why is it even on the table again? That's ridiculous. So these meetings don't mean nothing. Basically, there's an expiration date on orders. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
There is an expiration date on orders.
Well, I
That's
didn't
why
know
it's
that.
important to pay attention to what goes on here.
Yep,
Well, this is Jack, so this is saying this is part of the process, right?
Right.
That's why there's freedom of the press. It goes out in the newspapers. Everyone gets to see what's going on, whether you're at the meeting or not.
why don't we propose something for the kids?
Come here and express
Basketball.
your opinion,
Yeah,
and obviously this is a development code regulation change. If it were to go any further, there would be public hearings, official public hearings. It would have to be notified in the notice in the paper. And so there'd be many opportunities for the public to come and
can we put something else on the
Change-
table as far as
change
like,
opinion.
something for the kids and recreation, building, with basketball courts and,
Yeah.
there's 2 openings on the park board. Come on down.
where?
It's still open in the park board.
Come on down.
Oh, well, I'm talking about the building when it's raining and everybody, the kids can't play outside, and I think that's what it should be. Anyway, thank you.
All right. Any other members of the public have any comment tonight? I know there were various postings on Facebook about it as well. I know it generated a couple of hundred comments, which for Vader is unprecedented. Heck, the amount of public comment that is here tonight is unprecedented. And so we'll make sure that, and like I said, we had emails to the city council that we provided to them. So we'll make sure that they'll get a chance to listen to your audio as well. I think at the next council meeting, I'll put it in city business to discuss the public comment. We'll make sure that we get more of the council members involved too. So.
I'd like to, Joe, I don't know if I can right now, but I'd like to make a motion that we stop the lawyer from doing anything further on this and wasting further money until we can have a vote on it next week or next meeting.
Mike, you're a council member. You can make any motion you want. There's a motion on Mr. Parsons to pause the attorney work for now until the next council meeting when a discussion can be had. Is there a second on that?
I second.
Seconded, Mr. Hall. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of requesting the attorney pause the work for now, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay. I believe we would need all 3 in general for a majority for 5, but I think since this is a non-financial matter, I can also vote, and so I will vote in favor of pausing the attorney work. So we'll make sure that that's the right thing, that my vote can count like that. But either, so if it does, it will pass, and if not, then.
We should vote when
then it won't.
the other members are here
Yeah,
then.
so, but either way, we'll make sure, since I've never had to break a tie like that before. Okay, and then I'll let the council members know tomorrow how that worked out.
Actually, Joe, I believe if I remember right, there's 3 in a quorum and 2 voted yay. That's the majority for the quorum.
Yeah, I will double check, sure. So,
Perfect.
so, yeah, I know a lot of times the mayor can't be involved because of finances, just because I execute the finances, and so you don't want me making decisions on money and then spending the money. But in this case, that's not it. So anyway, we'll take a look. Okay. No items of city business tonight. Any elected official comments? Yep, hearing none, this meeting's adjourned at 6:51 PM. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.